everybody. Can you hear me? I hear myself. Okay, good. Thank you all for coming out today to Tallahassee for this Unite Women rally. My name is Diane Wilson. A lot of you have seen my name on Facebook already. That's me. I'm your host. These rallies are taking place all over the United States today, and we actually have 3+ in Florida. We've got a big state, we've got a lot of people, we've got a lot of women. This all matters to us. We're here because politicians have been attacking our rights. They've been taking them away from us one by one, and we're not going to stand it anymore. This is ridiculous. I encourage you all to spread the word across all your networks, you know, you tweet and your Facebook and all that stuff. I do Facebook, I don't know how to tweet. But we want to get this event trending. UniteWomen.org has asked us, if you're going to tweet, use the hashtag symbol UAWOW or UAWOW-Florida, so we know that Florida's got a lot of active women and we are paying attention. These politicians are going to hear from us. Karen Teagarden, who is the founder of Unite Women, asked us to make a speech today. I decided not to read the speech because we have a lot of really important people coming today to talk to us. What I have done is I have posted her speech on our Facebook page. So when you get all home, go read her speech, okay? Enough is enough. We're not going to take it anymore. And to get this started, let's do a chant. Stand with women, join our fight. Work together, let's unite. Stand with women, join our fight. Work together, let's unite. Stand with women, join our fight. Work together, let's unite. Woo! With that, I would like to welcome Reverend Della Fonestock from the Alliance for Faith and Feminism for our opening prayer.
Perhaps not your typical prayer, no need to bow your head or kneel down or anything. Because we are women and we are men of moral maturity. So let those with ears to hear listen. The moral courage of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who wrote the Proclamation for Human Justice. Men, their rights and nothing more. Women, their rights and nothing less. Let those with ears to hear listen to the moral courage of Sojourner Truth, who demanded to be seen and heard as the strong, capable individual that she was. And ain't she a woman? Yes. Let those with ears to hear listen to the moral courage of Hillary Rodham Clinton, who dared the heads of state to call themselves democratic while practicing misogynist apartheid, saying there cannot be true democracy unless women's voices are heard. There cannot be true democracy until women are given the opportunity and take the responsibility for their own lives.
Yes.
Let those with ears to hear listen to the moral courage of American women today from every corner of every state, who will neither settle for the idolatry of fetus over mother, yes, nor submit to the domination of any man's God. To the moral courage of every American woman and man whose ethic is justice and whose spiritual path is equality.
Yes.
Let those with ears to hear listen, because we who gather in harmony with all that is good and inclusive, and we who gather in solidarity with all that is right and just, will not be silenced by your attacks upon our convictions of integrity and our devotion to moral agency. Let no one dare build this country's future upon the suppression of another's rights. Together we will stand. Together we will call out. Together we will chant to all the gods above and rulers below. Human justice must roll down like a river, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream today and every day. Let it be. Selah.
Thank you very much, Reverend.
Nice job, Reverend. Thank you.
Okay. Our first speaker is Andrew Gillum, Commissioner. Andrew Gillum.
How's everybody doing? All right, is anybody fired up? I know there's some 2008ers out there. Anybody fired up? Ready to go. Listen, I'm so pleased to be here with you today. Obviously, I know so many of you all thought that so many of these battles have been fought before, and that we be behind that in this day and age. But unfortunately, radical elements of our society have brought these issues back to the forefront, and hopefully this November we'll send them back to where they belong, and declare that rights of women and what women can do with their bodies and their lives and their families and their own personal health are theirs alone, not the government, not mine, not the mayor's, not the police, not anybody else's. Woo! For generations, women have had to fight for basic rights and freedom, and for the fundamental notion that all men and women are created equal. Someone say equal. Equal! Equal. Yes, we have had, no doubt, made strides over the years, but as society, we have a long way to go before our work for women's rights and equal protection for all is achieved. Your fight for equal pay and equal representation, you fight for reproductive rights, you fight against domestic violence and discrimination, but most importantly, you fight as a solidified force against those who would wage war on women. I hope that our message here today will serve as an example of what we can do, unified in our effort, an effort to promote freedom and equality for all. Somebody say for all. And with that, I would like to present a proclamation on behalf of Mayor John Marks and the Tallahassee City Commission. And this declaration reads, whereas on this day, April 28, 2012, we come together as women and men, adults and children, and members of collective communities across North Florida to call attention to the continuing efforts and struggles toward full equality for every woman here in Florida and across the United States. And whereas we are joined by countless numbers of others in cities and every state, as well as our nation's capital, who have grown weary of the legislative proposals and government regulations and political rhetoric that have been focused upon women, their private interests, their medical privacy, and their rights for self-determination. Somebody say self-determination. And whereas women face a reduction in education and training opportunities, threats to quality health care, challenges to enforcement of crimes against women and children, inequality in the workplace, and the minimalization of women's input in the formation of public policy pertaining to these issues. And whereas recent grassroots efforts have shown how together we can protect, somebody say protect, and improve our human rights through letter writing, town hall meetings, phone calls, and demonstrations about the issues that impact us as women and as men who care about women. And whereas we have the power to challenge the arcane thinking and the perceptions, and to solidify our current rights, and to move toward guaranteeing that every person's personal experience equals opportunities, equal rights, and equal representation. And therefore I, on behalf of Mayor John Marks III, by the authority vested in me as the Mayor Pro Tem, do declare Saturday, April 28th, 2012 as Women's Rights Day. Let's hear it for Women's Rights Day. The proclamation continues and says that we encourage the citizens of Tallahassee to show our support for the rights of women and girls, and to embrace the idea that good, upstanding women and men can make positive and substantial differences and the quality of life for all citizens by cultivating an atmosphere that fortifies the aspirations and goals of women and girls to attain quality education, achieve gainful employment, receive quality health care and health care coverage, raise secure families, and enjoy full, active, peaceful participation in the life of our communities and beyond. When one of us is attacked, all of us is attacked. And I'll end these comments in recognition of Dolores Horta, who yesterday was nominated by President Obama to receive one of the highest civilian rights, the highest civilian right that a president can offer in this country, with this saying, "Si se puede, si se puede, si se puede, si se puede, si se puede." And that is, yes we can take back this legislature, this House, this Senate, and all of those who believe that women are less than men in this country. It is our position that we are equal. We're equal. And my hope and my prayer for this nation and for this state is that fights like this, that pit men against women, that says one group of people is less than another group of people, whether that be in LGBT rights, women's rights, African American and minority rights, let's put those fights where they properly belong in the history of this country and not in its future. I look forward to seeing you at the ballot box.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Gillen.
No, we've been here since
And want to say thank you. Our next speaker will be Representative Alan Williams. But before we bring him up here, I want to say thank you to the team that has worked with me, making today such a great event. Dr. Rachel Sutz-Pienta, Sharon Russell, Tiffany Arnold. Is Carolyn here?
Where's Carolyn
Pardue
Pardue?
here?
Thank you.
Carolyn? Joan Hendricks? Want to say thank you. Also, due to the great generosity of Planned Parenthood, Ask Me, and John Vale, and the Nitro Ground Shakers, we have sound system, we have the podium, and we have security, all paid for. And we say thank you very much, because I would have been passing a tin can around right now, and I don't have to. So thank you. Okay, Representative Williams.
Good afternoon. What a great day to be here on the steps of your Capitol. You know, today as we celebrate Women's Rights Day, first let me say it is an honor and a privilege to serve as your state representative in the Florida House of Representatives. What is the dishonor is the fact that many of my colleagues challenge on a daily basis, even when we're not in session, the rights of women. They challenge it in a way that one of our former colleagues, Scott Randolph, when we were talking about reproductive rights on the floor of the House, talked about the uterus. And then all of a sudden, Dean Cannon, who knows Jay-Z lyrics more than probably reproductive rights, said shut him down. And I will tell you, he probably got more excitement and more notoriety for shutting down Scott Randolph and trying to quote Jay-Z, 99 Problems, than he did for some of his issues and some of the initiatives that my Republican colleagues tried to move forward in this session. But I want to tell you, as a card-carrying member of the Mama's Boy Club, I'm so proud of what you are here and what you're showing today. I'm proud to have my daughter, Adriana Williams, a new teenager, here in the audience to show her that women are strong and they are powerful. She gets that every day because she's with my wife, who tells me that on a daily basis. But what we're here today to celebrate and really to share with the rest of the state is that we're fed up and we're not going to take it. And that men are standing with women. That's right. Progressive men are standing with women to say, we will not take it anymore. That's right. We will not take it in the halls of Congress. We will not take it on the plaza level of the state capitol. And we're not going to take it at the ballot box in November. Now, it's my privilege to bring to you someone who has not been taking it for a long time, who has been fighting for equal rights, protections for all, for state workers, for seniors, for women, for minorities, for retirees throughout the state of Florida. Someone who I call a mentor, someone I call a friend, someone who is also a graduate of my alma mater. She's a proud Rattler. But more importantly, she's the Senate pro tem, Democratic pro tem in the Senate. And she is none other than Arthenia Joyner, our incoming chair of the Florida Conference of Black State Legislators, and a proud, proud Democrat that's been fighting for you each and every day. Arthenia.
Thank you, Representative Williams. Good afternoon, fellow fighters. As Alan said, my name is Arthenia Joyner, and I'm here today as a woman who earned the right to practice law as an attorney in this state. That's right. I'm here today as a woman who earned the right to represent the good people of the state of Florida in the Florida Senate. Yeah. I'm here today, more importantly, as a woman who was born with the right to control my own body. And no man, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, has any business trying to take that right away from me or any other woman. We will not tolerate that. We're here today because in Florida and throughout America, Republicans have launched an all-out assault against us, women. You know, we're 51%. We vote more than anybody. We show up every time. We can change this. That's right. Who are they to tell us what we can and cannot do? Yeah. Who are they to restrict our right to health care? Who are they to say or to force us to have children when we have chosen otherwise? Right. Who are they to say a woman who becomes impregnated by a rapist has to have that child? We know what our rights are, and they're not going to take it away from us. And who are they to demand our obedience to their so-called morality? Who are they? Let me declare right here and now, if they want war, they will get war. It won't come with guns or knives, but something the Republicans fear even more, our votes. That's right. So join me and others across the nation. Let our words ring far and wide. Let them hear us. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. We are many, and we are many ability within the fingertips of our hands to go to the ballot box and put them out. And so I say to you, no retreat, no surrender, and women will win in November.
All right. No retreat.
Thank you, Senator Joyner. And shame on me, I forgot to say thank you to a very, very important team member, Allison Tant Richard.
Allison.
Sorry.
Well done.
Thank you.
How was the speech today?
Okay, next I would like to bring up Jessica Lowe,
You have to ask somebody else. I've
Executive
never
Director
passed
from the
yours.
League
It's
of
been a
Women
long
Voters.
Thank you. So, of course, the League of Women Voters is a huge fan of Susan B. Anthony's, and I thought that today would be an appropriate day to share a story about her life. And she actually got into women's suffrage and the suffragist movement through her interest in abolition and her work in the abolitionist movement. And when she was starting out, she actually went to an abolitionist meeting, and she was the only woman there. And they told her that women had to sit behind a curtain at the meeting and that women were not allowed to speak. And so, of course, this, as an intelligent woman who was interested in this issue, said this is not acceptable. And she actually went on from there to become, obviously, a famous and well-known public speaker and advocate for the rights of women. And here we are, almost 200 years later, and I think that we are being shoved behind the curtain again. We as women are being told that we do not deserve equal pay for equal work. We are being told that we do not have the right or the ability to determine whether and when we will have children and start families. We're being told that the state doesn't have the money to respond to our most basic needs, including rape crisis counseling for victims of sexual assault. And now, at this very point, 6 months before our upcoming election, we are being told in the state of Florida that we cannot do grassroots voter registration the way we used to. We're being told that we cannot do early voting the way we used to. And we're being told that we cannot move and change our address the way we used to before we go into an election. So what we need to do is say, yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
We will do those things. And we are going to speak with our voices in November. We are going to become educated voters. We're going to educate ourselves on the candidates' positions, their platforms, the 11 complex and confusing constitutional amendments on the ballot. We are going to learn about those. We are going to learn about the about the impact that those are going to have on our state. And we are going to speak with our voice in the ballot box in November. Because our vote is our voice. And Susan B. Anthony knew that, and she refused to be behind the curtain, and so will we. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Jessica. And next I would like to introduce Alma Gonzalez, Special Counsel for AFSCME. And AFSCME is the one that's providing our security here, so extra special thanks to her.
Friends, sisters, beloved allies, my name is Alma Gonzalez. I represent the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees in Florida. I come here not to praise the misguided Koch brothers and their followers who scheme mightily in their ivory towers, but to condemn their sheer, unvarnished, unabated, incomprehensible war on women. Let me begin by saying that, like my sister, the great union leader, Jeanette Wynn, I am a woman of faith. So don't try to tell me what God says. Don't tell me that God has ordained that women should be lesser than. Don't tell me that God has said that I should get paid less than a man, or that your so-called family values allow you to vote against the Lilly Ledbetter Equal Pay Act. Let me tell you something, Mr. Candidate. When you ask for our vote, we'll just have to get back to you on that. It's a privilege to stand here with you and amazing women like Michelle Raywinkle Vasalinda, Arthenia Joyner, Rachel Sutz-Pienta, and Allison Tant. And while I acknowledge the importance of nonpartisanship, like them, I am a proud Democrat. And I have this to say to you, Congressman Allen West. Don't try to silence my voice against the sale of government services to the highest contributor by telling me that's a communist plot. You can peddle McCarthyism somewhere else. Because regardless of our party affiliation, the women in Florida won't stand for that. No, sir. We're here to say that enough is enough. My union is comprised of a diverse group of people who share a commitment to public service. For us, serving the public isn't just a job, it's a calling. An important part of our mission is to advocate for the vital services that keep our families safe and make our communities strong. We also advocate for the prosperity and opportunity for all America's working families. We stand not only in our communities, but also are prepared to fight in the halls of government. We know that especially for women, economic justice is at the core of their survival, and we will fight for it. Sadly, the direction of extremists in Congress and right here in the halls of this Capitol are taking us in the exact opposite direction. Florida alone has had 55 mass layoff events in March 2012. Y quiero decir que nosotros las mujeres, las madres, las hermanas, tías, esposas, sabemos lo que es justicia económica. Y pondremos un paro a cualquier candidato que no respeta a nuestras familias. En este país poderoso, en este estado hermoso de la Florida, esas personas que buscan quitarnos nuestros trabajos encontrarán el poder de la mujer. We, the women, the mothers, sisters, aunts, wives, and partners, know what economic justice means, and we will not support any candidate or elected official who doesn't respect our families. In this powerful country, in this beautiful state, those persons who would endeavor to take away our economic freedom will find the power of women who have had enough. God bless you, sisters. This is where we stand our ground.
Good job.
Thank you. I want to introduce Supervisor of Elections for Leon County, Ion Sancho.
Thank you very much, and let me tell you what an honor it is to address you, the majority of the state of Florida and the United States of America. 24 years ago, I made a vow to ensure that when Leon County citizens voted, that vote was counted as they intended. Little did I know that that journey would bring me against the United States Supreme Court, presidents, governors, and the Florida legislature, who seems, since the 2000 election, oriented on a path to make sure that only some voters get to vote and have their vote counted. My reading of this document, the United States Constitution, tells me that all of us are allowed to have that right. All of us. Not just those that vote for a certain party, not that those that just think in a certain way. All of us, we the people, are given the right to choose our elected leaders. In fact, our history is that of revolutionaries. When the United States told Great Britain that we are not going to be subject to you. It was because they came up with the radical concept that we, and we alone, can determine our destiny. That citizens, men and women, all of us can do that, and do that successfully. And that makes every one of you here today the son, the daughter, the father, the son of revolutionaries and rebels, and I'm proud of that. And I am one of those today. Because I'm suing the state of Florida over those items that you heard Jessica with the League of Women Voters talk earlier. Early voting is critical to the state of Florida for everyone, but in particularly women, because we have 11.2 million voters in this state, and we anticipate over 8.2 million voters voting in November. And we have fewer polling places today in the state of Florida than we did in 2000, plus 3+ million voters. Those voters can't go on election day and vote. They must use early voting. And that 15-day window will be preserved if I have anything to say about it in this state. And as someone who would have been a history teacher had I not gone in this direction, I will tell you that we have been here before. I call this period of time we're living now the Great Regression. That's what we're living in, the Great Regression, where all of the social and cultural and educational achievements of the 20th century are now under attack. And most people, unfortunately, don't know that we've been here before. Don't know because we haven't taught them our history. Right. The history of people in the 1880s who stood up to the corporations and said, we are not going to take it anymore. In fact, the robber barons have been here once, and I think they're back again. Yes. But everyone here may register to vote and vote. And the whole media is telling people, your vote doesn't matter. Where do you think people have heard the term, the lesser of two evils? There's the complete professional consulting arena in elections don't want new voters to vote. New voters may change the current status quo. And the status quo opposes that. You must be included in this process. That's what voting is about, and our inheritance says that we can achieve change through this action. So you remember that on August 14th, there's a primary election. And it's just as important as the November presidential election. Right. And I'm telling you that because the Florida legislature this year moved that primary before the students are back on the campuses to eliminate them from voting on August 14th. So you remember that there is this election that will determine who will be the legislators, the judges, the school board members, the county commissioners. It's not just the legislature that we have to focus on. It is injustice in general. Yeah. And remember what justice really is. It's just us. Yeah. So you remember Andrew Gillum. I met him as a young student back in the 90s. I worked with him on a program called Arrive with 5. And I will tell that to you. When you go vote, you make sure you bring 5 of your friends. And if you arrive with 5, then, like that sign right over here will say, we will end fighting this crap. Thank you very much. And one last thing. I am seeking one last term as Leon County Supervisor of Elections. Just one, because I have to retire and talk more broadly about what is going on in American politics. And being the Supervisor of Elections limits me to talking about elections. I want to talk more broadly. But To accomplish my ends of running for supervisor of elections and being a 1% candidate, i.e. I will not raise one dime or spend one penny on my campaign, I do need 2,000 people to sign these petition cards so I don't have to pay the state one penny. I'll be standing in the back. Please come see me. Help me ensure that the state has this rebel to deal with at least for the next 4 years.
And I want to remind everyone that there is voter registration occurring over in that area. So if you need to register, you need to change your registration. This is not just for Leon County, it's for any county in Florida. They will send the paperwork to your county. So if you need to make any changes, go see those people. Next, we're going to have Anita Davis. Anita has been with the NAACP through the years, and she has a TV show on FAMU, and I was privileged to see it recently with some of my friends. So thank you, Anita.
Yay, Anita!
Good afternoon. I am glad that I was asked to come, because I said I'd like to be in the middle of stuff so I can rub elbows and hear things that I need to hear. But the most wonderful thing that has happened to me this morning, are you all wearing your own hats? I must tell you, Mr. Wilson gave up his chair and also his hat so I could be cool. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for doing that. I really, really appreciate that. One of the things over the years that I've done, and I really have to give myself a hand, is sticking with things. Have you ever said to yourself, oh, I forgot? I think when you get a certain age, you're forgetting more than what you should be remembering. But today I'm going to talk about some things. I'm glad when I hear the voices tell me that your rights are in trouble and we have to do something about it. I came through the 50s and 60s when we were trying to make ourselves part of a community. And sometimes we were denied even going into a restaurant or sitting where we want to sit on a bus or sitting at lunch counters. And I remember all that. And our young people need to understand that we didn't start from the top. We started from the bottom and lifted ourselves up. And this is where we need to go, women. We need to start lifting ourselves up and be and do what you want to do. And also, tell the man that you're with that it's okay. Give him a kiss sometimes. Tell him he can go with you wherever you want to. That's what I do with my husband. So what I do now, I said, honey, would you please drive me to the Capitol? And then that way I know he's with me. Years ago, we used to say things were separate and unequal. I went back in some of my history books. I know I'm only supposed to have 3 minutes, but I went back in some of the civil rights history books. Those of you who are old enough to remember and those who are not, there was a term, separate and unequal. And you remember when, yes, I told you already that you couldn't be in certain places at certain times. And we have missed something. We have it now that if you can't pay, you can't play. Or you can't do certain things because you look like me. But I feel good about myself. It doesn't matter to me what you try to do to stop me. I'm not going to let you stop me. And see, this is what we need to be doing all the time. Telling ourselves that we understand what the challenge is, whether it's to take our vote away from us, whether to keep us from sitting on the front of the bus, whether it is for you to lose your seat in school. There are so many things out there that we need to explore. Education is the key. That's one of the things that I talk with my young people all about. It's not your saggy pants or what you're showing to the public. It's what God gave you here, this gray matter, so you can infiltrate that with knowledge to make sure that you can lift yourself to the levels that you want. Being a freedom rider in the 50s and 60s, I was a tag-along kid with my mother. And I didn't have no problem about being on the bus. and moving around the country as a freedom rider. I'm saying all this to you today because sometimes we don't have a chance to really tell what it's like, what the fight is all about, and we can't give it up. Our communities, our schools are infested with crime. And ladies, don't let anybody tell you you don't belong. You are part of it, and you should use the rights that has been given to you to start lifting up our education, lifting up our children, lifting up our jobs. Yes, we look good for our supervisor, but that's all we're supposed to do for him or her. We must make sure that what we're doing is the best thing for those persons that we serve, whether it's in the workforce, in the school, in the political arena. We are there. We are responsible for exploring new capabilities and new opportunities. And when I had this hat on, I said, well, what hat do you wear? Some of us wear hats and we're afraid that what's underneath of them. But don't be that way. Be in the fight. I love when somebody tells me there's going to be a fight. I like to be in the middle of it. I'm not going to referee, but I'm going to be a part of it. I can duke it out. You know what I mean? We're going to punch this thing out. We're going to make sure that what we're doing is going to bring back to our communities, to our cities, our states, the things that we need to do to make it better. My body is my right. What I do with my body, I don't need anybody to tell me what to do with this 75-year-old body. I already know. And the thing is that if we continue to let people tell us what we need to do with it, there's an expression they used to say, go to That's where you need to go. So I'm listening and I'm trying to understand where the problems are, and I am not afraid to fight. I don't need anything, just give me a glass of water sometimes, but I don't need anything, but I need to know that all of those persons that I work with have a great sense of judgment and also can use this gray matter that God gave us to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do for the rights of everybody. So don't tell no man to be my writer, the writer, R-I-G-H-T-E-R. I can W-R-I-G-H. No, that's not right, W-R-I-T-E. I can write it myself. But don't change things, and I'm so glad that Ian talked about the change in voting. I made a little note here too about listening, but don't change the name on the White House mailbox, okay? That is your charge. We need to get out of here and make sure the name is right. It's not who you are or what you have, it's what you're going to do. God bless you.